Hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. As often happens with Chef AJ Live, most of the guests come as referrals from other guests. So I had a chef on a couple of times named Christina Martin, who introduced me to Venus DeMarco. She's not only going to be making a delicious recipe, a smoky sweet potato mac and cheese, but she's going to tell us her story of healing from breast cancer naturally without chemotherapy and radiation. Please welcome Venus to the show. It's nice to meet you.
Oh, it's so nice to meet you. Thank you for having me. I just warning you, anything can happen in my kitchen. I do have a dog. She probably will come in and introduce herself too. And I just want to say again, I love your cookbook. It's so great.
You.
Great. And I'm going to put it up here with my books, Fearless. Well, that's not going to work. Like I said, anything can happen in my kitchen. So, what do you want to?
You
I'm good. I'm good. Besides the humidity in Florida, it's so humid.
I'm so excited to hear your story because it seems like cancer really is an epidemic now. And it's just about every day I hear of somebody, and a lot of times people I know personally, friends or family, with a new cancer diagnosis. And it's got to be one of the scariest things in the world for people.
You know, I was diagnosed in 2009, so over 13 years ago. Now, what was interesting, I was in Austin, Texas at the time, which was great because there's a lot of holistic doctors and I knew a lot of holistic people. Another friend of mine, Karen Osborne, Dr. Rita Marie, a lot of different people. And I had stage 3 with a 9-centimeter tumor and 5 rotating around it. And so, of course, the doctors went nuts. And to make a very long story, not long, they wanted me to have a double mastectomy and 8 months of chemo. And I had been studying nutrition for a long time. And I knew that the statistics were not good for that. If you take the top 14 cancers and all of them have chemo, only 2.1% are actually alive after 5 years, or they get another type of cancer. So for me, I was like, okay, do what you know, Venus, and let's beat this. And I have a saying in my book: is it the fear or is it the disease that actually kills you? Because we have been conditioned to be very afraid of cancer. Very afraid, and to think that it will kill us. Can it kill you? Of course it can kill you, but so can walking in the street. I mean, there's many things that can kill us, but cancer, we have been very, very conditioned to be very afraid of. And I'm a Christian woman, so I went to God immediately and believed his word that by his stripes I was healed. And I stood on that and I went to work on my spiritual self, my body, and my mind, because that's really, really important. And you can't have a lot of fear around you. And believe me, people got scared. I mean, my mother had her friends calling me every day, trying to talk me into doing radiation, doing, surgery or whatever I was going to do. So I started really looking at what was going on in the natural world. And the number one thing at that time was raw vegan. So luckily I had always cooked and I love to cook. And so I started teaching myself how to, make raw vegan food. I'm one of those chefs. I do every genre. I don't speak English very well though. But I do all kinds. How I eat is one way. How I cook for people, even in cooking classes, may be what I'm asked to do. So I got into that. I was an esthetician at the time, and lots of the chefs in Austin at the time, there were raw restaurants would trade me facials to teach me how to do this. Me and Karen Osborne would do classes on raw desserts. It was really great. But I had to understand why my body broke down. So a lot of people just think it's genetic. I'm going to tell you it is not. What is genetic is that we copy the habits of the generation before us. If you really go back, so at my age, my mother didn't have breast cancer. My grandmother didn't, both of them. Now, I will say that my mom's two sisters did, but if you knew their lifestyle, it was very conducive. And they had very bad relationships with men. So your right breast is male, your left is female. Okay. So I had to understand who I hadn't forgiven. I mean, I got down to business and I wrote a book about it, but I really got rid of all animal products. And it was not my first time being vegan or vegetarian. And before I got diagnosed, I have to tell you, I ate a lot of meat protein, a lot of dairy. I really bought into that. And I was partying pretty hard too. I was having a good time. You know, I'm kind of a wild spirit, and I was just having a good time everywhere I was. And I had to change everything about my life. So I got rid of all animal products, and I juiced every day. I still juice. I have my handy. I do kill juicers though. They don't last too long with me sometimes. And I love my Vitamix. I've actually had over 13 years. These are the best machines, you know? So I learned all kinds of things. And the thing I had the hardest time giving up was cheese. Because when I would come home from working all day, doing facials all day, I would crave red wine, cheese, and cheese. You know, I needed the dopamine from the cheese and the red wine, I guess, just to make me relax. And so I started getting into making cheeses. I love to make vegan cheeses of all kinds. So I do that a lot. A lot of people will hire me to do like cheese boards for their parties and stuff. That's really fun. But I even wrote a blog called Got Snot. But I love my cheese. That's a great blog, actually. So I just learned that when you go with what has the most nutrients, and you know, I'm not here to judge or say anything, but I don't think macros in my eyes are as important as phytonutrients, things that are going to give me nutrition and fiber. Lots of fiber, because the majority of Americans are constipated and they're dehydrated and they need fiber. They need good, healthy foods, and those are vegetables. But luckily, I've always loved vegetables. My parents have a picture of me as a child in a high chair eating a scallion. So this was easy for me. So basically, I did everything, and I wrote a book called Fearless, and this is the second printing of it. The first one was called The Healing Journey of My Bodacious Tatas, Healed, and I'd like to go back to that, but I had some bad advice. You know, we made the inside better, but I don't like the title and I don't like the cover very much. So when these are all sold out, I may change things, but this book is not your regular cancer book. I don't just talk about protocols. I really, really talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly in the natural world, because just because it's natural doesn't mean it's good. And there's some bad things out there. So I went on a crazy journey. So the book will make you laugh. It'll make you cry. It'll make you go, holy crap, because there's some crazy things I did. But here I am, alive 13 years later. And I believe that I wouldn't have made it through a double mastectomy and all that chemo. I think it would have just broken me. I'm not really great at being sick. And that would have made me sick. I never felt sick when I was diagnosed with cancer. But I detoxed a lot. I mean, I had some hardcore detoxing. So another thing, and AJ, maybe you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. When a person changes their lifestyle, sometimes the detoxing is hardcore. Do you agree?
True. Even when they don't have cancer, if somebody is just eating a lot of sugar and processed foods, whether they're vegan or not, just that change can be difficult for them.
Oh, yeah. And that's what stops them usually from going on, is because they literally, they don't like the pain. You have to go through a little withdrawal. You have to go through a lot. I went through some crazy withdrawals because I started detoxing every area of my body. And when you get down to the blood, oh, that's when the emotions start coming out. And that's a really good story in the book. It's really funny. But I just know that we were not meant to be sick. We are meant to be healthy. God created us perfectly, and our genes are not the issue. We all have great genes. Our genes are not our destiny. Your past isn't your destiny. So you can get on it. And I always say prevention is the cure anyway. So why don't we just start taking good care of us and not ourselves and not get sick, right?
Well, I agree. What you say it resonates with me on so many levels, because although I've never had cancer, I feel like I suffered from food addiction. And people say,
Sure.
well, you're so perfect. How do you stay the course? Well, it's easy because I don't want to have to detox again, because that was tough.
It's really tough. And I like feeling good. I really do. I mean, do I once in a while go off and have a little something, not animal anything, but I might have something at, a party or whatever. But what I realize is one time, once in a great while might be okay. I can get over it quickly, but I'm very into my sleep, waking up, feeling good. And so to me, I'd rather just eat really good food. And the older we get, especially post menopause, it's very important that we watch what we eat, that we are sleeping. And when you eat certain ways, you can't sleep either. That's another thing. Everybody, if the healthier you're eating, the better your sleep is, the more hydrated you are. Another good thing is when you eat fruits and vegetables, you get excess water. Everything has water. You're not so dehydrated. And, about a year, so I've never been physically down in my life. Over a year ago, I was out playing with my dog. I missed a step. I fractured my right ankle, my left elbow, and hit my head. And I ended up having to go to the emergency, but it took me 2 days. I'm sitting on my couch being iced up. People are like thinking I'm crazy. I finally go, and they put a boot on me. It definitely was fractured. And I ended up having to go to a, what do they call them? An orthopedic surgeon. And he kept saying, wow, you have such strong bones for a woman your age. I go, first of all, just give me a compliment. Don't say my age. And I said, well, I guess it's vegan diet does well for the bones. And he just looked at me because they don't really care. That's one thing I realized. But unfortunately, they didn't raise my other leg, and that boot pulled my pelvis out. And I was in so much pain for 6 months. I got a 10, but I had to still work and do things. Finally found a good chiropractor. And he said to me when he took my x-ray, because those guys only took x-rays of my ankles and my elbow. When he finally took x-rays of the whole back and the hip, he said, what did you used to do when you were younger? Because these are old. So I said, I skied. I told all the sports I did. And my hip was almost bone to bone. And he said, that's been a long time in my back. So everybody wanted me to get a hip replacement except for him. And we've been working on it. I just had my 6-month x-ray, and he's like, this is amazing. Amazing. You have done the work. And I haven't been in pain for a long time, but everything is getting better. And it's just from really eating and supplementing with the right things to build the joints and the bones. And I just believe that if you don't give up, see, people give up before they turn that corner, right? They give up. Oh, I haven't lost the weight. Oh, it's been a week. I haven't lost 10 pounds. I'm done. I would rather, I've been doing this for 6 months. I'm not completely healed yet. Then they give up, but their miracle could have been right around the corner. It's just never giving up. Everything is consistency. You know that. Look at how hard you work. Look where you've gone. Look at, everything is consistency. So whether it's food, whether it's exercise, and and it's your thought patterns, and there's a quote that says, what the man thinks, so he goes. So his heart, whatever you think, your heart believes. So the body is a servant of the mind. If you believe that you're never going to heal, this can't happen, then you're not going to. I don't care how good you eat. I don't care. Nothing is going to work. You have to believe it. You have to take it. You got to take your healing and run with it and never give up.
Thank you so much for saying that. Colleen would like to know if your book is available on Audible.
It is on Kindle, I think. Not Audible, no, just Kindle and paperback, and it's on Amazon. And it's also, you can get linked from my website to Amazon, to the books,
Right.
and that's venusdemarco.org. Yes.
Yeah. It wouldn't be on Audible unless either you recorded it or maybe
Right. It took me a
somebody.
minute. Yeah.
Yep.
It took me a minute.
I don't know how long your recipe takes, so I want to make sure we
It's
have
very
time for it.
It's
Okay.
We can get started. I'm very prepared. I'm
Good.
real prepared. I love to do cooking classes. That's my favorite thing to do.
Right. Because I wanted to ask you, are you completely cancer-free now? And if so, has that been verified?
Yes. I was on the 700 Club, which is a Christian TV show. They had me on as a testimony, and trust me, they interviewed me for a year. So before they'd let me on the show. So they had to see my doctors. They had to see everything. Their doctors had to talk to me. Yes, I am.
Nice. Have you been in touch with any of your original oncologists and told them you heal naturally? And if you did they believe you?
No, I stayed awake after I went to MD Anderson in Houston. The first oncologist I worked with, I picked a woman. I thought she was going to be great. She was so awful. And that's in the book. But I went to MD Anderson. I was there for 2 days, and they were so freaked out. The doctor kept calling me. Then he called my family. I had to tell him to leave me alone. No, you know why? I just walked away. I just did my life. It's kind of how I do things. I don't have to prove anything to anybody, and I guess they never saw like a obituary on me. So
That's funny.
I guess they're okay.
You have a wonderful attitude. And Elizabeth says, what do you do for your bone strength?
Well, I don't drink milk. No. I really believe that vegetables and magnesium, foods that are high in magnesium. I also take magnesium. I think the majority of us are lacking in magnesium. So I do take a supplement of magnesium, and weight-bearing exercises, which could be anything. It doesn't have to be actually with weights, but you got to put some weight on those muscles and the bones to pull. The muscle has to pull on the bone to produce strong bones. So I do quite different things. I used to be extremely active. Now I can actually spin. That doesn't hurt me. I have to be kind of careful now, but really it's eating a lot of greens, I believe. And I do eat tempeh and foods high in magnesium. And I do, since I've been hurt, I have taken vegan hyaluronic acid and it's a liquid to help build the joints, the fluid, the goo in between the joints, because that's a problem, because my hip was about bone to bone. So things like that.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, because a lot of people think soy is bad for cancer, when in fact it's very good for people with cancer.
Very good. Trust me, I've had to argue that point for a long, long time. Yes. And again, we're talking non-GMO tofu, tempeh, soy milk, non-GMO. Yes, it's very good.
Great. Do you teach cooking classes in person, virtually? Because you seem like even though you haven't done the recipe, I can just tell you're probably a wonderful instructor.
Oh, you're so sweet. I teach, before COVID, I taught all over. Now I have one store a health food store in Tampa. And I sort of stopped for a while, but I have a Facebook group called A Healthy Life Made Simple, where I'll do quick little lives in there and teach people about different things and ways to cook. And I also do a lot at people's homes. People will host me to do a cooking class, and then everybody sits down and eats the food. They're really fun. That's my favorite because I limit it, and then we do a dinner, or sometimes we'll do appetizers. It depends what the host wants, and that is really fun. That is so much fun. Sometimes though, they never leave. They're having too much fun.
That's funny. You mentioned you juice every day. Is that like something you do the first thing in the morning? And is it a particular kind of juice? And also, is there a particular kind of juicer? Because I had a lot of guests on that juice this week, and they all are talking about this Nama J2.
I know it looks amazing, but my juicer is it's an Omega 900 HD, and I'm not going to go spend another $400 on a juicer, but when I kill this one, I might try that one. I hear it's amazing. So I'm using that one, the Omega 900. I juice, it all depends. Sometimes I like to do celery juice first thing in the morning. Sometimes I don't do that. Sometimes I like green juices the best. I'm really like green apples, greens, it's anything, cucumbers, celery, lemon, ginger. I'm not a big fruit juicer. My blood sugar doesn't seem to do well with it. Watermelon juice, I can drink that more in the afternoon, but in the mornings, I tend to do more of the green juices. I put whatever I have. If I have stuff going bad, I literally juice it. I just throw it in the juicer, parsley, cilantro, all of that. I mean, today when I made the broccoli for this thing, I take the stems of the broccoli and juice them.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't like to waste things. You can also shave those little tree stumps and make coleslaw with them. You can do all kinds of things. You can put them in a stir fry. I mean, people waste a lot of food, and there's so much you can do with it, and so I do love to juice. Today I had a green smoothie though. I didn't juice. I was too busy doing things. I just threw everything in my Vitamix. And that was, I made some homemade almond milk yesterday. I think I put in an apricot, spinach, cucumber, and frozen blueberries, a little bit of flaxseed. And, I put some a mushroom mix in there. And it was great. So,
nice.
All right. And some frozen strawberries. Yeah.
So lots of fruits and vegetables.
Yes. I just love them. They make me feel good. They keep my blood sugar stable. And I'm an Italian woman.
What was your diet like before your cancer diagnosis? Was it typical standard American Italian, or was it a lot of junk food, a lot of animal products?
No, I was never a junk food person. I always ate organic. So of course, when I ended up being diagnosed, people were sort of surprised. I always ate organic, grass-fed. I just think, honestly, it had to do with a lot of unforgiveness and all that fat. Fat is, I think we need some fat, right? But not 80% of your diet. That's hard on your liver. That's hard on your gallbladder. There are some tumors that feed on fat. And breast tumors sometimes tend to be those kind of tumors, and we know that sugar isn't good for anybody. So if you're eating sugar, it feeds cancer, because cancer loves sugar. And we're talking, refined sugars, not dates, things like that. But I wasn't that, I did. Now when I look at it, I think it was bad. But then, I am Italian girl. I've cooked since I was a kid. I love good food. I'm passionate about food. I want people back in the kitchen. I want them making food. I want them eating healthy. You can cook a meal faster than you can order out and have it delivered. That seems to be the thing now. Let's just order in, because then I can sit on my phone and just wait an hour and then my food will get delivered. But you know, cooking food is, and eating with people, by the way, is good for your hormones. It actually levels out your hormones. That's why we're supposed to fellowship with other people. We're not supposed to be sitting alone, eating in front of the TV. It does nothing for your hormones. It messes them up. This is why people are getting more and more depressed. They're in so much solitude. And when people eat together, a lot of times there's conversation. They actually are not eating as much as they would when they're alone, because they're talking, they're, you know, and there's more food there for them to pick from. It's not just, you know, Wonder Bread and American cheese with some mayo on it, you know. So how I came up with this recipe is I was teaching a nut-free class on cheeses and sauces. And I thought, well, I love sweet potatoes. I think I can make cheese sauce out of this and make it savory. So I will say that what I did is I don't bake these sweet potatoes. I actually boil them. I find when I bake them, because they get a little more caramelized, they're sweeter. And it could just be in my head, but that's how I think they taste, not as sweet when you boil them. So,
you're right, Venus. When you roast them, it caramelizes them. So if you
Right.
want them like for a dessert, that's definitely, you want to roast them.
Right. So that's why in this one, you're going to peel 2 medium sweet potatoes. I cut them up. You boil them for about, I'd say 16 to 20 minutes. You want them soft because we are going to blend them. Sweet potatoes, as we know, are very high in beta carotene, fiber. You know, these are vitamin C. They're just good for you. And so I made this for a class, and I thought, well, you know, when you're in a class, you've got to serve it over something for them to taste it. So I had different things. So I had some noodles, and I put it over the noodles, and they went nuts. So I just ended up making a whole mac and cheese recipe out of it. So we're going to take these sweet potatoes. Can you see me okay?
Yep, you look great.
All right. And I'm going to put them in my handy dandy Vitamix, because I love my Vitamix. And now we're going to, I always get prepared for cooking, so nobody needs to watch me squeeze lemons. So we're going to do a 1/4 cup of lemon juice plus a tablespoon. So the thing when you're making a cheese, it needs to have a briny, tart, kind of a salty taste, right? So I had to come up with things that did that. So we're doing, and this recipe is on my website. You have that link.
I put the link, it's in the show notes. So on YouTube, just look below the video, the description box, and there's a link to the recipe.
Great. And we're going to put a 1/2 cup of nutritional yeast. You can use fortified or non-fortified, whatever is your preference.
Do you think there's a taste difference? I'm going to be doing a taste test as soon as I get a few brands. I'm going to do a blind taste test, because a company sent me some nutritional yeast and they want me to promote it. And I'm like, well, you know, if it tastes good, so what I'm going to do, and they were first skeptical, but they're so sure that theirs tastes the best that I'm going to do a
I think I
taste
know
test.
which company it is.
Yeah. So, but the thing is I wonder if fortified and non-fortified taste differently, because I wonder if you can taste the vitamins that are in the fortified.
I haven't noticed a difference, but that could be me. I may not be looking. If you put me in a taste test, I might be able to tell if it was a blind taste test. That's a great idea. We're going to put a teaspoon of onion powder. Earlier, I made a mistake. I was rushing because I have one already made, so you guys can see it after it came out of the oven. And I put garlic in there too. So I'm going to put some garlic because garlic's good. So
I don't know. Garlic is good. Garlic is essential. How do people eat without onion and garlic? I don't understand.
Do you know? I don't either. I mean, if a recipe calls for 3 cloves, I put 6. That is one herb that has literally been proven of all the herbs to actually be medicinal. I mean, the paperwork, the studies on it. It is such an antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial. So I love garlic. I eat garlic every day. I don't have a boyfriend, so I guess it doesn't matter.
But you're Venus. You're Venus.
I should have a boyfriend. I'm in Florida, though. It's very different than Texas. Texas men are different. They're better. Whoops, did I say that?
No, didn't hear it at all.
Now, I'm going to put salt in here because cheese, to me, has to have a salty taste. If you don't eat salt, then please, don't put it in or put aminos or whatever. So we're going to put some salt.
Oh, you know what? Colleen is saying she would love for you to come back and make a cheese.
Oh, well, I would love to, Colleen, whoever you are. Hi. I would love to. So then we're going to put some smoky paprika because it just gives it that wonderful, like, I always pronounce this wrong too. Maybe I said one time on a video, I can barely speak I started speaking with an Italian accent. I was talking about something. I said, I can barely speak the English language, and somebody comes on that's because you're from Texas. You speak Texas, Venus. Like, it's umami or unami?
I think it's umami, UMAMA.
Umami.
It's like that bittersweet, sour, salty. It's like the fifth taste. And that's things like soy sauce, nutritional yeast, mushrooms.
Yes. And miso, right? So
miso is one of the umami tastes.
Yes. So we want this to be rich. Cheeses to me are rich, except for cream cheeses, some mozzarella, things like that. But cheeses to me make the world go round. I just love that rich, wonderful taste. So, and look who's done an amazing job with that, Miyoko. I mean, so we're going to put a tablespoon of chickpea miso. The white miso. I didn't want the dark one in this. Just use regular light miso also. Okay. And we are going to do 1/8 of a teaspoon of liquid smoke. This is a all natural hickory smoke. You're just going to do like 1/8. If you get a little bit more, that's no big deal, right? And then we're going, see how simple this is? And when you guys taste this, you're going to go, I can't believe it. We're going to put a 1/4 cup of water in here. Now, I have a saying, be the king or queen of your own kitchen. So when you make someone's recipe, always make it how they have it written first. Because sometimes people will go in and do a recipe and they'll think, oh, I don't need that. And they don't put it in, then they don't think the recipe's good. Because when we develop recipes, as you know, AJ, you have reason to
dog sighting.
Oh, I'm like, what? Stella, can you see her? She's beautiful. Can you see her?
She's adorable.
Yeah, she's my girl. She's a great dog. She likes to be around me when I cook because I usually drop stuff. So, so it works out really good. But we're going to put this over noodles today. But I will tell you, it's really good over cauliflower rice. So if you're going to
good. Or, they have noodles now that are not made of like flour. They'll have like shirataki noodles, kohlrabi noodles, hearts of palm noodles, things like that. Zucchini noodles.
Oh yeah, I've done it on all of them. Today we're just doing regular noodles. I'm not a big fan of gluten-free noodles if you're going to have leftovers because the noodles fall apart the next day. They're mushy. So when you do this over cauliflower rice, if you're using frozen cauliflower rice, please warm it up a little. If you're making your own in the food processor, you don't have to. It's perfect. And then just warm your cheese sauce up, okay? Stella, what are you waiting for? So this is going to get loud for a minute.
while she's blending, I'll tell you guys 2 shows tomorrow, 2 p.m. because my guest is in Australia. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of High Carb Health, Shakul and Cheeze. They'll be on, and well, one of them will be on. And at 11 a.m., we've got Lissa from Raw Food Romance. She's going to be making some recipes from her book. She is fabulous if you love raw food. She's amazing. Yeah, rice noodles would be fine if you like them, whatever noodles you like. I like noodles made out of butternut squash myself.
I'm sorry.
I was saying, people were asking in the chat about, is rice noodles okay? And I said, any noodles you like. And I was saying, have you ever had butternut squash noodles? I love those.
Oh yeah, I've spiralized them, and I've also done sweet potato and all of that. And I like to soften them up a little, you know, massage. I always massage my zucchini noodles and get some of the water out of them and let them sit in the colander because they're more like regular noodles. All right. So see how simple that was? Now, I didn't drop anything, did I, Stella? So I'm going to take the noodles and put them, I cooked them ahead of time. I'm just going to break them up a little. I dream of a beautiful kitchen soon in my own home. All right, so I steamed some broccoli. I cut it up in bite-sized pieces. Now, I'm going to tell you, I love spicy food. So if I was just making this for myself, I'd put pickled jalapenos in it. I would do all kinds of things. So you guys make the food to suit you. You know, you get a recipe, just try it once the way it's written, and then add stuff to it. So people get mad at me in my cooking classes because I'm always adding jalapenos and stuff. And Florida has a lot of old people and they don't always like hot food.
Yeah,
So,
you know, I was thinking chipotle powder.
Oh yeah, that would be really good. Really good. So, you know, you can put as much broccoli as you want. I like lots of veggies. Were you going to say something?
No, I just watching you cook. You seem like a really fun person.
I love life. And I love people. I just have a heart for people. People need to have fun. They need to laugh. They need to be with each other. Look at that beautiful sauce. Isn't that beautiful?
It looks cheesy to me.
And it is. So my friend that's here helping me, her and her husband get the one that I made earlier for dinner. I said, you can have the first one I made. That's for you. They're like, okay. Now, you can do all kinds of toppings. I did try to, maybe you can help me with this. I tried to air fry some onions and make like fried onions today. To crumble on top, but they didn't come out. What would you do?
Maybe dehydrate them.
And I have a dehydrator, and unfortunately, I thought of it, you know, late last night, and I had to go get an onion this morning because I didn't have one. But that's a good idea. So yeah,
I think with onion, because they're so high in water, the air fryer would burn them. But I know when I went to, you know, Raw Culinary School and Optimum Health Institute, I think when you dehydrate them, because you're looking for like kind of a crispy onion topping that's not full of oil.
Yeah,
and stuff. That's
a great idea. And I have a couple dehydrators. I just thought that would be a really fun thing to put on top of this. And, you know, just so in my recipe, I say use vegan butter with the breadcrumbs to put on top. It's very low. But because we're not going to do that high fat in this one, I'm going to mix it with spices and just put the dry breadcrumbs on and bake it like that, because we want to cut back on that. So in my recipes, like I said, I've had to cook for so many different styles of eaters. You will find that there are all styles. Personally, I don't use oil to cook with and all of that. I like to keep, I like, avocados, and of course I make things with nuts, but I'm not eating high fat every day. It doesn't, I think I do better personally with a lower, fat from nuts, fat from avocado, but, not going overboard with it. Some people, maybe it works for them. I don't think it works as good for me. So,
Jules said the sauce looks amazing, and Colleen says it's like a healthy Velveeta.
it is. That's a great way to look at it. So we're going to put it in this, and then I'm going to we'll make a little topping for it. Stella, you like broccoli? Here, eat some broccoli. My dog loves vegetables. She loves vegetables. She loves blueberries, watermelon. She's just like her mom. Where do you live now in California? In the desert?
Well, I did for 3 years, and then I moved to Lincoln in Northern California. It's about 31 miles east of Sacramento, but it's really more like out in the country in a small town. Like I can like here, like can you see? Look outside. Can you see my look? This is what I see. I don't know if you can see.
See that looks good to me.
See, because for 3 years in the desert, I never saw the color green or any water, and I really missed it.
I bet I would miss it too. In Florida, I was at the beach now for 4 days. I took a little vacation over 4th of July. I needed to get away, but I'm a water person. I've got to have water somewhere. So I just have some panko breadcrumbs here. I'm going to try some of this no salt seasoning in here.
Yeah, Sherry's saying, can I double the broccoli and leave out the noodles? Why not?
You could do anything you want with it. Be the queen of your kitchen, woman. Do it however you want. I mean, it would be good this sauce would just be good to sit down and take a spoon and eat it. I cannot wait for you guys to try it. It's so much fun. You could, like I said, you could do anything, any way you want. Whatever suits you for that day, for that season, do it. Just know that getting as many vegetables as you can in your diet is the best thing you can do. I mean, I've been known to sit down and eat a whole thing of broccoli in one setting. So,
Amen to eating veggies. And Dawn says, where in Florida do you live?
Safety Harbor. Can you see that? And then you bake it for about at 350 for around 25 minutes. And that just kind of gives it a crunchy topping. And here's one that's already done. It's like, I'm still limping a little. It's not my norm, but I have been standing all day. So that's what it looks like. It's delicious. When you see in the directions, I say 10 to 12 ounces of noodles, and I'll tell you why. Most of the noodles come in a pound, but I like my mac and cheese moist. I don't like it dried out. And what I find is if you use the whole pound, it's too much for this sauce unless you doubled it. But I like my mac and cheese I could just eat it like that. I don't even need to bake it. So
wow.
It's healthy. It's made with love. It's got the great thing about when you eat high fiber and lower fat, you can eat so much more food, because I was working out with these people and they were looking at my food, right? And they were like, you don't get enough calories in a day. And I realized to get as many calories as I'm supposed to eat a day to build muscle and to lose some weight, it's a lot of food. I have to really concentrate and eat a lot more. So, because it is a fallacy too, that after menopause, that we are to eat less and exercise harder. That is not true. That will damage you. That will cause inflammation. So, girls, eat. Don't be ashamed to eat. I had the best compliment paid to me one time in Seattle. I was staying outside of a salon that I had a skincare clinic in, and this guy named Basil, who was an Italian guy, and used to wash our windows, and he came up to me, he goes, Venus, you've got nice hips. I bet you like to eat. And I go, well, what do you mean by that? He goes, I would really like to take you out because I'm tired of taking out these girls that won't eat. I pay for the dinner and they only eat a few bites. I go, you wouldn't have to worry about that with me.
You know, you are a hoot. Have you ever done any like comedy or acting? You're just so
No, I've been asked that before. You should, I guess even when I'm on a stage, I come out with some crazy things, but I just have fun. This is fun to me, AJ. This is not work. This is why I love to do it. It's just fun. It makes me happy because I know that when people eat this food, they're going to be happy. They're going to go, oh man, this is so good. I do a vegan crab cake that I'll have friends come in from out of town and they request those crab cakes every time. I'm hot though. Whew.
You are hot. You are Venus.
Oh, yeah.
I keep every time I hear your name, I keep thinking of that song. I'm your Venus. I'm your
fire at your desire. And I can't sing it all.
Wow. Hey, Deborah wants to know, do you still eat a lot of raw food?
I go through times in the summer more than in the winter. I like cooked food, but yes, I love to do raw desserts are my favorite. Salads with really interesting dressings. Yes, I don't do my cruciferous vegetables raw very often anymore. I don't seem to be able to digest them as well. I like to cook them up a little. But I do a little of everything, to be honest.
Nice. What do you want to take us through what you eat in a day?
Well, every day is different. Today wasn't enough. No. So, well, let's see. I'll tell you, I find if I like oatmeal, but I can't eat oatmeal just with fruit. If I do, I'm hungry in 30 minutes. It just doesn't work. But what I have found, if I cook my oatmeal and then put like a bunch of chopped up spinach in it and cook it down and maybe a scoop of vegan protein and then some berries, I am not hungry for hours. But I don't know, and I like it. So sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes I do a smoothie. Sometimes I'll, I'm very much one of those people that just gets up and eats by, what they want to eat that day. If it's on the weekend and I have friends over, I might do a tofu scramble with lots of vegetables. Lunch will vary. It depends if I'm at home or I'm out. I'm big on easy stir fries over rice a lot. Dinner tonight will be mac and cheese, and I'll probably make a salad. And for dessert, it's summer. I've got some apricots in there. Sometimes I like to grill my stone fruits for dessert. And you taught me this, to use balsamic vinegar on them.
Oh, but you know what? You're going to get 2 free bottles of California balsamic in the
I
flavor
am?
of your choice just for being on the show.
Oh, wow. Yeah, free gifts.
You didn't even know that, huh?
I didn't know that. Stella, you want some balsamic vinegar? She was like, no. Oh, that's awesome. That's so sweet. Thank you.
Well, you are so welcome. Well, you like spicy things, so you maybe want to try the blazing habanero flavor.
I do. That'll
Absolutely.
be, yes. Thank you. This has been really fun. I don't even know what time it is.
It's almost noon. Hey, there's a question. Did you cool or do you cool the sweet potatoes first?
Oh, that's a great question. I meant to tell you that. You can do them. I had these cooled because I made them ahead of time. But if you're making them, let them cool a little bit. I mean, I cool them down because, steam comes out of the Vitamix, and it's just better to cool them down. I was teaching a class one day and I'm showing people how I'm making cream of broccoli soup, and I'm in this room and I go, this is how, when you put hot soup in the Vitamix and you're blending it, how you don't get it to go all over the wall. So I opened up the vent, I put a towel, and of course I start to talk. soup went all over the wall. And I go, see, when you come to my class, you actually get shown what happens if you do it wrong. So you want to probably let them cool down. And, that makes it too, be prepared. Sometimes I cook things in the morning and just leave them so that at night when I come home, I have stuff ready, and it makes making food easier. I like tacos.
Do you do any kind of batch prep in your cooking?
I cook, to me, cooking is easy. So I don't really do a lot of batch cooking for meals, but I always have beans. I always have some kind of vegetable. It depends if I made something that'll last a couple days, because I can make food so fast, AJ. I mean, I can have dinner ready in 15 minutes to 30 minutes if I have to. So yeah. Because it's just me, I don't really batch cook. I think it's good if I was working out of the home all the time, that would be a great thing to do, because then you could bring it with you. Yes. I've never mastered it, to be honest, but there's always food in my fridge and sometimes in my freezer. So to me, I could make anytime. I did a course, by the way, and your people may really be interested in this. It's called How to Stock a Vegan Kitchen and How to Set Your Kitchen Up for Success. Most people don't have a stocked kitchen, and that's why they have problems making meals, because they have nothing in their house. So anybody could come to my house at any time and I could make you something, because it's always stocked just right. Then maybe once a week I may have to go out and get a few little things, but there's always food in my house. And I wrote that course. It's very inexpensive. It's on my website under services, and in it I teach you, there's a little bit on how to do non-dairy milks, how to do a couple cheeses, but it really shows you if you understand. And there's even a quiz to find out how you like to eat, because I may stock my kitchen different than you, because I like different foods. And if you try to eat like me, but that isn't really who you are, you're never going to eat anything. So I have a quiz that people take. It's for them to understand how they like to eat, and then learn how to stock their kitchen for success. And then you can always make food quick.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's see. Diana said she sees a comedy class in your future. She took the comedy class and crushed it. We took it together. Right. And Deborah said, what is the logo on your apron? She really likes it.
Oh, it's Neora. It is a skincare and wellness company that I also represent. So it's got great skincare, vegan skincare, body care, nutritional products. It's great. And they gave me this apron. I go, oh, turquoise is my favorite color. So this is great. I can just wear it. But yeah, that's what it is.
Nice. Well, you are really
it's naughty. It actually means naughty. N is naughty. That's the real.
You are delightful.
Well, thank you for having me on. This was so much fun.
I can already tell you people want you back, and especially if you make some cheese for us.
Oh, I'd love that. Are you kidding? I'll do anything you guys want. I give it to the people.
Absolutely. Yeah. Have you been able to influence any of your friends or family to going vegan or plant-based, especially since your recovery from cancer?
You'd think that I had a lot of friends who were already vegan. I have gotten people to eat more vegan, but I haven't and because I moved from Texas to here and have moved a few times here, I have some vegan friends. I have actually quite a few vegan friends here, but I can get them to go to vegan restaurants with me, and they love my food. But this is what everybody says, and I know you hear this all the time. Oh, it's just so hard.
Well, I don't get it. What is hard about it?
I know. You just saw me make a mac and cheese. It's just as easy. Everybody's like, oh, it's so hard. Or, oh my gosh, I don't think I could ever eat vegan. I go, you've never eaten an apple? That's vegan.
Oh, you've never eaten salsa? You've never eaten guacamole? I mean, you've never eaten. I don't get it. Unless
I don't either. It's this fear of, if they don't eat a steak, they will they will waste away because they'll have no muscle. But we can't even utilize that much protein from animals. So even if a steak has 35 grams of protein, you're only going to utilize, I think it's like 22% of that. You can't even utilize the whole thing. So, protein, almost everything has protein in it anyway. And if you eat enough calories in a day, you get enough protein. When I'm lifting a lot of weights or whatever, I will add a protein shake. I do take some vegan aminos that help me being I'm built more curvy. I'm more of an estrogen girl. So, it takes me a little bit more to get muscular, but, there are options. It doesn't have to be a dead animal.
Thank you for saying that.
You're welcome.
Yep. Well, you are just too much fun. Oh, yes. Stella did make an appearance. So
She did, my girl. Now she's like, I'm bored. She went into the bedroom, probably go lay on a bed somewhere.
that's great. Well, thank you. I want to have you back. Everybody does. So you are
Oh, I
just too
want to
much fun.
show you. Thank you very much. I want to show you something. See this picture on my fridge?
Uh-huh.
So I was going to do a dog cookbook. This apartment, we have old stuff in here. Can you guys see this? I have actually.
Looks just like Stella.
It is Stella. So I was going to do a dog cookbook. It was called Stella's Gourmet Delights. And I have the whole cover made and everything. And then I was getting all this, well, do you know the exact amount of protein and this and that and everything in their food? And I went, you know what? That might be a little too much, with people getting a little crazy on if I put the right nutrients. And I go, but farm people used to just throw their dogs their food from the table, right? But in my newsletters, I'll put dog things to make your dog. And Stella has her own corner in one of my newsletters. So,
well,
all right.
We look forward to your next book. And how do people connect with you the most? We have everything in the show notes, but do you hang out on certain social media platforms more than others?
I have a group called A Healthy Life Made Simple in Facebook. You can friend me. It's Venus A. DeMarco. If you go to Venus DeMarco, that's a business page, and I don't really do much with that because they make you pay for ads. But I have a friend one called Venus A. DeMarco, and then A Healthy Life Made Simple, which you asked to join. I am on Instagram too. I seem to get more feedback on Facebook than I do Instagram, but I am there. And go to my website, get on my email list. You'll get a free, it'll say sign up for my free PDF. You'll get that, and then you'll get some other things. I will not inundate you with newsletters every day. I don't have time. And I don't like that. So I wouldn't do that to you. Because that's what a lot of people say. I don't want to get on an email list. I get two emails a day from everybody. And if you're in my area, let me know. And, hopefully we can do a cooking class together. You can come to one of my cooking classes. I do travel. I am going up to Augusta, Georgia to be on a TV show that I was on twice before. And I'll do an interview and then cook for them. So, who knows, AJ, maybe in California soon.
Great. Well, thank you. It's such a nice time to.
Yes. Thank you so much. You have a great, great rest of your weekend.
You too. And get in touch with me. We want to have you back. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Of course. Right. Please come back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time when we have another fabulous uncooking demo, because it's Lissa from Raw Food Romance, and she's going to be making recipes from the plant